We've got a news and rumors-filled show to get to on this edition of the Cleveland Browns Report. But help us out. We are closing in on 29,000 subscribers, 144 away. My Christmas wish is to get to 30,000, but we got to get to 29K first. So if you have not joined the channel yet, go ahead and do so. Let's start today's show off with some roster moves being made by the Browns as they themselves announced. We have signed running back John Kelly to the practice squad. Now, you might be thinking, wasn't he on the practice squad? He was released from the practice squad like 2 weeks ago, and they added Joe Flacco, and then they moved on from Kenyan Drake. So not quite sure what Kenyan Drake did to make them reverse their decision from 2 weeks ago when they could have dropped Drake and kept John Kelly, but the former Tennessee Volunteer is back on the practice squad. They also released Thomas Graham from injured reserve. He was a really good nickel corner, and then he got injured and put on IR before the season started. So they reached an injury settlement from him, and he can go out and play wherever he wants to. But on today's show, is it Joe Flacco time? Let's really get into the nuts and bolts of today's show because, unfortunately, Dorian Thompson-Robinson is still in concussion protocol, and concussion protocol is not something that you can just skip through. Like, this is not 2009 anymore. This is not the league. It's a very serious protocol. I'm rewatching the league, by the way, so be prepared for a lot of league references. But DTR is still in concussion protocol, and to me it just seems, dare I say, unlikely that he's going to be available on Sunday. I mean, let's say he does clear concussion protocol, which, by the way, I should add, being in concussion protocol does not mean you have a concussion. It means they want to test you for a concussion, right? Now, if you're still in concussion protocol a few days after the game, then I would say you probably have a concussion. Otherwise, you would have tested out of it. But for now, DTR in concussion protocol. And if he can't practice this week, I would sense a change at quarterback. To me, it just seems like he has not earned a spot where he can skip practice all week and be ready to roll on Sunday against Aaron Donald and the LA Rams. But DTR so far over the last 2 weeks, I don't think he's been as bad as maybe some people sort of made him out to be after the first Steelers game. Like, I remember going on Twitter after the Steelers win and seeing everyone say, well, it's time for Joe Flacco. I don't know. I think DTR has made good throws with the ball. Now, they've asked him to throw it more than I thought they would, 24 for 43 in his first game. Well, I guess the second game, but you know what I'm saying, against the Steelers. And then this past game, when he played 3 quarters and change against the Broncos, 14 for 29, 134 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, let's look at DTR's passing chart for a moment here. Let's see where he is putting the football. And this is week 11 against Pittsburgh. And you can see there's no pass really beyond 15 yards. Now, let's jump forward to his second start under, this new era of the 2023 Cleveland Browns. And first off, like, if you want to notice the difference, look at Dorian Thompson-Robinson's passing chart, and then go look at Justin Fields'. I mean, Kevin Stefanski, with his rookie quarterback, is showing him way more trust than Fields has in Chicago right now for throwing the ball more than a few yards down the line of scrimmage. So, I mean, go back to the old one really quickly, Trace. I'm sorry, I'm making you do a lot of work. But just look at the old one for a moment, and then look at the new one, okay? Look at the old one, and voila. Look how close it is to the line of scrimmage. And now look at what he did in Denver, okay? 3, 2, 1. Look at all the dots just move down screen. So you are seeing something here, and that is Stefanski opening up a little bit more of the playbook, and it really felt like DTR might be on a path to play some really good football for the Browns the rest of the season. DTR, like I said, has not looked as bad as some may come out to be. Now, I am not in the business of experimenting with Dorian Thompson-Robinson when you've got the number 1 defense in the NFL and a team that has 7 wins and is well on their way to make the playoffs. But if Dorian Thompson-Robinson can prove to be a consistent quarterback that can help you win football games, you don't rock the boat that's already rocking right. I mean, this boat's going through the Drake's Passage again and again and again and again. So if you've got something with DTR, you should stick with him. And it looked like the Browns were really building off of the Steelers game last week in Denver, but unfortunately, Stefanski kind of panicked and went away from the ground game, and then the injury happened, and it felt like all that went down the shitter. To me, it seems like DTR is a long shot to clear concussion protocol. I don't say this with any knowledge. I don't have any sources right now in Southern California telling me this. But if he misses practice this week, he should not start. It should be Joe Flacco. If there is a guy on this team that's ready to start at a moment's notice, it's probably the longtime vet who knows how to play in an NFL game on short notice, right? It's the guy who can pick up a playbook and get himself up to speed a lot quicker for this week's game plan. And in my eyes, that would be Joe Flacco, the vet, over DTR if he can't practice all week long. And we're going to add more to this in just a moment, so stick around. But really quickly, this holiday season, you might be looking for nutritious, convenient meals to keep you energized on jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, can help you fuel up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save the time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle while tracking all your holidays to-dos. So skip the stress of meal prepping over the holidays with Factor. Choose from 35-plus weekly flavor-packed, fresh, never frozen meals that support a healthy lifestyle and meet your meal preferences, all delivered right to your door and ready to eat in 2 minutes. Head to factormeals.com/BrownsChat50 and use code BrownsChat50 to get 50% off. That's right. BrownsChat50 is the code at factormeals.com/BrownsChat50 to get 50% off your order. All that information is in the comments and description of today's video. As I was just saying, though, I don't think it's a good idea for DTR to start if he cannot practice this week. If he clears concussion protocol on Saturday, I would still roll with Joe Flacco because the Rams defense did not get off to a phenomenal start, but it didn't get off to a disastrous start. I know that the record indicated, must be an all systems failure. They're giving up 21 points a game. Third down percentage was not egregious, but look at what they've done over the last 2 weeks. I mean, 15 points allowed. They're giving up a touchdown less. Yards dramatically down. Third down percentage on conversions down. They've got 6 sacks in the last 2 games. They only had 19 in the first 9 games, and their record is a perfect 2-0. Now, it definitely helps playing the Arizona Cardinals. That's going to probably boost morale a little bit, but still had an impressive comeback victory against the frauds that are the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Scott Petrak added this 2 days ago yesterday, Browns coach Kevin Stefanski on QB decision. We'll let the week and DTR's concussion protocol play out. No decision on who'll start Sunday versus the Rams, said Joe Flacco, PJ Walker as options if DTR doesn't clear protocol in time. So let's have a different conversation now. If Dorian Thompson-Robinson is not available, I think naturally we're all just assuming it'll be Joe Flacco. And I want it on the record right now. It better be Joe Flacco over PJ Walker. Like, look at the numbers from PJ Walker this year, okay? 1 touchdown to 5 interceptions. He's been turnover prone. He has given us some great moments, some great fourth quarter drives against the Colts and against the 49ers. But no, I would not roll with PJ Walker if I have the choice over Joe Flacco. We know what Joe Flacco is capable of. We know he's got an absolute cannon of an arm. Now, maybe we see some college football and we see a little bit of a 2 QB system, which that just never works out anyway. But maybe they see Flacco come in for some big, deep shots and PJ Walker's got a bigger playbook so they can run more consistent plays that they've run all season long. But I would take Joe Flacco over PJ Walker every single day of the week. Why? For starters, this team is not winning playoff games with PJ Walker. They're not. Like, I hate to burst your bubble. Maybe they could squeak by 1 week, and that would be awesome. Don't get me wrong. But no, we have seen some teams get into the playoffs and then roll with random quarterbacks. And you might not remember them, but like they exist. I remember the Vikings did against the Packers like almost 10 years ago now, and Joe Webb was the quarterback. That was a disaster. How about all the times the Texans started random guys like the Yates of hell with TJ Yates? I mean, it sounds fun and not even all that fun going into it. And then it's just a forgotten memory half a decade later. Whereas Joe Flacco gives you a much better chance of winning playoff games. Now, I understand we're just talking about the Rams game here, but if you're going to be a serious playoff contender, you should kickstart the Joe Flacco reign now if you do end up going that direction. Whereas if you roll with P.J. Walker and you end up losing, well, now you got yourself a loss. You're not anywhere closer to Joe Flacco getting some more reps and getting some practice and getting up to speed for the postseason if he ends up being the playoff quarterback. I just don't see a lot to gain long-term or really even short-term with P.J. Walker. Whereas Flacco, he might be the guy that is your starter in the playoffs if he does perform well on Sunday. So I'd rather kickstart the Joe Flacco experience sooner rather than later so that if he does end up starting in wild card weekend, he's not making his second start as a Browns quarterback. He's making his fourth or his fifth or maybe even his sixth start as a Browns quarterback. So pick a quarterback for me, Joe Flacco or P.J. Walker. I think this should be a slam dunk Joe Flacco. So I'm typing 15. That's his jersey number, by the way. But if you want to roll with the guy who's been here for longer, I can see the lure of no, Flacco's been here for 2 weeks. He doesn't know the playbook. Guys, Flacco's been in the NFL for a long time. I think by now he knows how to pick up a playbook quickly. So even if it is a limited playbook, we saw Baker Mayfield with the Rams last year beat the Raiders with a limited playbook. Give me the better quarterback. That is Joe Flacco. Now, before we get on out of here, I do want to show some love to our Week 12 Watch Party legends. Starting with our MVP, that was Johnny. The guy was incredible. He came in, he dropped $100, and then he gave the Browns Nick Chubb jersey to a Browns fan. So, Johnny, thank you for being a good sport about the whole thing. I really appreciate you, dude. All-Pro is Mike Dibble. I've just never seen the likes of it. Every single week I come up here, and every single week I give the same speech, and that is Mike Dibble continues to blow my mind with his passion, his dedication, and his execution for helping this channel and helping this team out. Dibble, you are a walking legend. Pro Bowl is Ken G. Ken G is an absolute first ballot Pro Bowl player this year. When the NFL comes out with the top 100 list, Ken G better not be on the episode until it's the final one, because he is 1 through 10 in my eyes. Ken G continues to stack great Sundays after great Sundays, and there's a lot of teach tape to be had from Ken G. My sleeper is Max T. In fact, I'll open it up to Max and Joel, because these are two guys that do not mess around on Sundays. They get in early and they stay late. They are in for the long haul. They're not tapping out if the score is not in their favor at halftime. They're not going to a pumpkin patch in October. The T-men are here for all 4 quarters, and they're going to be on their worst behavior the entire time. In the game ball, this one's long overdue. Kimberly Hurst. If you guys want to get some real reps in the comment section, go look at what Kimberly Hurst is doing. I mean, she is pumping out comment after comment after comment. Kimberly Hurst, absolutely a beneficiary of the game ball for her constant dedication to this channel. I cannot thank you enough, Kimberly, and I look forward to seeing you in future watch parties. That's going to do it for us on this edition of the Cleveland Browns Reports. If you enjoyed our show, hit me up over on X, Twitter, whatever, at Matthew Petey. I'm always talking brownies over there.